Abiding Doonabrae in exceedingly cramped conditions, you'll discover monsters, dragons, dreamers, romantics, thrill-seekers, and a myriad of real and magical creatures, living famously within Portgordon's Lampyhouse. Their only chance of escape is through you. Every Tuesday, between 2 and 4 p.m, through P.O.T.S. Portgordon-Off-The-Shelf Book Swap.
We've invited our first Portgordon visitor, stroke resident, recently from South Wales. So, hi Roddy.
Hello.
Where are you from in South Wales?
Bargard.
Where is that?
It's in Caerphilly County.
So, what brought you up to Portgordon?
To see everyone, like my dad and my mum and my stepbrothers, stepsisters, and my half-sister.
And do you enjoy Portgordon?
It's awesome.
Really? What's your favourite bit about Portgordon?
The seals. I like to see the seals floating.
Okay. I hear you have been painting stones.
Yes.
What's that all about?
So, first time we started was when I was down here last and I saw painted rocks everywhere. So this time I came up, Mum brought acrylic paints and we started painting all the rocks. And at first it was just like a little normal thing, we were going to put them around the town. Now everyone is joining in and we've started a snake by the harbour.
Oh yeah?
And it's for anyone who wants to join in.
So anybody can go and paint a stone?
Yeah.
Doesn't just have to be the kids from Portgordon?
Anybody who wants to, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. I see you've brought me a stone,
Yes.
which we've put outside the Lampyhouse, and it's a pot stone, so I'm going to keep that. I may put it on eBay in about 50 years' time. It'll become historical. It'll become like a souvenir from Portgordon.
Be in a museum.
I believe we were calling this the P.O.T.S-Cast, but I believe you've come up with a different name.
Yeah, the Port-Cast.
The Port-Cast, like the forecast.
Yeah, we got to get it for all the other port towns like Portessie and Portnocky.
Oh. So, what do you think of the fact that we've got a book swap here in Portgordon?
It's really nice because, like, normally the library would do it and you have to return it in a while, but here you can give books away that other people might like of what you've read, and then you can get even more books and you don't have to pay. So it's like a little library, but you swap and you get to keep them.
Right. Or they can bring it back.
Or they can bring it back. Yeah.
I think all the books we've put a stamp on it saying Lampyhouse.
Yeah.
So if you take it back to Wales, we can find you.
Oh no! There's trackers in the
Track
end.
you, yes. And do you like reading?
Reading is quite fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How long have you been reading?
I don't know the exact date, but probably since I was like 5 or something.
And how old are you now?
10.
Wow, so at least 5 years then.
Yeah.
And what kind of books do you like?
I like books like The Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I like sort of fact books, sometimes like history books.
Mm-hmm.
I like David Walliams, he's good, and then I also like Roald Dahl.
Oh, right, okay. Which Roald Dahl book is that?
The BFG.
The BFG. Right. Was that one that you donated to the book swap?
No, it wasn't.
No, okay.
Donated
But you've
books to
donated
everyone.
quite a few stuff. Well, at least
Yes.
you and your family have.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have.
So I was going to ask you, Roddy, do you think it's important that kids should be reading?
Yes, because it helps them, like, fuel their imagination, and if you, read more, it's easier to understand things.
Okay, yeah.
At least in my opinion.
Oh, that's cool. I love reading. I used to love books as well. Well, I still do love books. So this Roald Dahl book, I was going to ask you, would you mind just reading the opening for us?
Okay. The Witching Hour. Sophie couldn't sleep. A brilliant moonbeam was slanting through a gap in the curtains. It was shining right on her pillow. The other children in the dormitory had been asleep for hours. Sophie closed her eyes and lay quite still. She tried very hard to doze off. It was no good. The moonbeam was like a silver blade slicing through the room onto her face. The house was absolutely silent. No voices came up from downstairs. There were no footsteps on the floor above either. The window behind the curtain was wide open, but nobody was walking on the pavement outside. No cars went by on the street. Not the tiniest sound could be heard anywhere. Sophie had never known such a silence. Perhaps she told herself that it was what they called the witching hour. The witching hour, somebody had once whispered to her, was a special moment in the middle of the night when every child and every grown-up was in deep, deep sleep, and all the dark things came out from hiding and had the world to themselves. The moonbeam was brighter than ever on Sophie's pillow. She decided to get out of bed and closed the gap in the curtains. You got punished if you were caught out of bed after lights out. Even if you said you had to go to the lavatory, that was not accepted as an excuse, and they punish you just the same. But no one about now, Sophie was sure of that. She reached out for her glasses and lay on the chair beside her bed. They had steel rims and very thick lenses, and she could hardly see a thing without them. She put them on. She slipped out of bed and tiptoed over to the window. When she had reached the curtain, Sophie hesitated. She longed to duck underneath them and lean out from the window to see what the world looked like now that the witching hour was at hand. She listened. Everything everywhere was deathly still. The longing to look out became so strong she couldn't resist it. Quickly, she ducked under the curtains and leaned out of the window. In the silvery moonlight, the village street she knew so well seemed completely different. The houses looked bent and crooked, like houses in a fairy tale. Everything was pale and ghostly and milky white. Across the road, she could see Miss Rant's shop, where you bought buttons and wool and bits of elastic. It didn't look real. There was something dim and misty about that too. Sophie allowed her eye to travel further and further down the street. Suddenly, she froze. There was nothing coming up the street on the opposite side. It was something black, something tall and black, something very tall, very black, and very thin.
So have you read that book?
Yes, and I've watched